Hello colleagues, and welcome to Week 2, Unit 6 of SAP Cloud Platform Version Control with Git. In this unit, we will learn about resets and learn to perform a hard reset. The concept of a reset is really simple. You're moving a branch pointer from one location to another location. So in this picture, you're resetting the experiment branch to the master branch. In WebIDE Git history pane, you can't see a commit unless there is a branch pointer pointing to it or to one of its children. As a result, a side effect of a reset is that you permanently lose all the commits it was pointing to. This side effect can be avoided if you copy the branch pointer before you reset it to the new branch. WebIDE allows two kinds of resets: hard resets and mixed resets. The concept of a hard reset is also really simple. In addition to moving the branch pointer and losing the commits it was pointing to, a hard reset also clears out your working area. This means that any stage changes you had that had not yet been committed were lost. And of course, as you would expect, any differences between the two branches are also lost. There's no record of any changes you did on the experiment branch. And of course, your unstaged changes to files are also lost. So you lose three things: the differences between the two branches, you lose what's in the staging area, and you lose the unstaged changes. Now the practical scenario where you might want to use this is easy to imagine. Perhaps you started prototyping an experimental feature, so you created a prototype branch. You worked on it for a few days, making several commits along the way. You had a good learning experience, but at some point you realized that your experimental feature is not the way to go. You could just delete the prototype branch. That would get rid of your work. But let's say now you're going to start working on a different prototype off of the master branch. You would then perform a hard reset to throw away all of your work on the prototype branch and move the prototype branch to the same commit as master is pointing to. If you wanted to save your prototype work, just in case, you would proceed this step by making a copy of the prototype branch, perhaps naming the branch copy old_prototype or something like that. So, the concept of a hard reset is straightforward. Let's try performing one in practice. We'll start by imagining that we started a prototype for a new feature several commits back. So we will create a branch called prototype off of the commit where we added the quote by Linus Torvalds. Okay, so here we are on our special branch. Let's go back in time in our Git history pane and make sure that we're seeing the entire version history. And let's go to this commit here where we added a quote by Linus Torvalds. And I'm going to check this out and create a branch pointer to it named prototype. Great. Now we've created a prototype branch, and you can see there's less work. This is an older version of our page because we're sort of pretending that we started this prototype a long time ago. So let's add a quote I got from the internet by Abraham Lincoln onto the list. The quote is, "The problem with internet quotes is that you can't always depend on their accuracy." Dash dash. That's by Abraham Lincoln in 1864. Okay, so we will, because we always save, we always test. Just takes a couple of seconds. There's our new quote. Test was successful. Added quote by Abraham Lincoln. Staged it. Now I'll create a new commit. Because that's such a good quote, let's say this next one I choose to make the quote but not the attribution in bold. The problem with internet quotes is you can't always depend on their accuracy in bold. Okay. Let's save it, test it, make sure that it comes out in bold. There it is. Stage it and commit it. Made quote but not attribution in bold. I'm going to hit commit. So now we have 2 commits on this prototype branch. Let's take a look in our Git History tab to see what things look like. Git History. Go to the top. And let's look at all 3 of our branches. Here you see our long, this is master. I believe that this quote is right here, the Han Solo is where we got 5 commits that have both master and special, and then starting here, it's just special, and here you have prototype. So let me just draw this out so we'll see what we're doing. We have master, then 1, 2. I may not be getting the exact number of commits right, but that doesn't really matter. It's just for learning purposes. And this is special. And then somewhere back here we have, I think it's further than this, but well, we'll just do it here. That's okay if it's not exact. We have 2 commits on prototype. And we want to perform a hard reset. So what's going to happen when we do the hard reset? We're going to move this branch pointer to special. So when the hard reset occurs, we're going to move this branch pointer here. Let's make this the right color. We're going to move this branch pointer to here. And because if we don't have in Git history a branch pointer pointing to a commit or to its ancestor, you can't see it anymore, this is going to go away. That's what a hard reset will do. Pretty simple. Let's do it. So if we go back here, we're going to go hard reset. So in order to do that, it's not too surprising that the way we do this is we get on the prototype branch because we're doing a hard reset from prototype onto special. So reset, special, and then we select hard. Now, remember I said we're going to lose our work, so Git is going to give us this helpful pop-up saying all unstaged changes will be discarded and cannot be recovered. Are you sure you want to continue? And yes, we do. We don't actually have unstaged changes, so I'm going to hit OK. Look at this. We are now, did I do this onto master or onto special? Let's find out. I did it onto special. Good. That's what I wanted. All right. So here we go. We are now, if you look at this, if we look at all 3 branches, those little 2 commits at the bottom with Abraham Lincoln, because in the meantime I found out that that might not have been a real quote, were discarded. And we have now this beautiful tree. We've thrown away our old 2 commits, and prototype is now pointing here. So back to the drawing. I'll just draw this out in case it's not clear. Now we just have one and this is master, and this is special, as well as prototype. Okay, pretty straightforward. There's one more thing that I want to repeat and explain again in this unit. I mentioned more than once that you lose all the commits that you're rebasing from. This is because, as I mentioned, in its current version, Web IDE doesn't have the ability to show you any commits unless there's a branch pointer that points to that commit or one of its children. So lines of development that are not marked with a branch pointer are invisible and therefore lost. This means that when you move a branch pointer, like in a hard reset, if it was the only branch pointer pointing to that string of commits, though it isn't deleted, it's effectively lost. Okay. You should keep the fact that Web IDE hides commits not pointed to by a branch in mind for two reasons. First, you need to be careful with resets and other operations that move branch pointers, because once a set of commits is hidden, it's effectively gone. Second, it makes pushing your work to the origin repository on a regular basis more important, because once the work is on the origin, it's much safer, especially if your origin repository host has the ability to see commits not pointed to by a branch. We're going to discuss pushing your work to the origin repository in week 3. To conclude, at this point, you know what a reset is and how to perform a hard reset, as well as what the results will be. Join me in Unit 7 to learn about one of the most versatile and useful tools in Web IDE Git, the mixed reset.